Hello everyone, it's Karen here from Stamping with Karen Spreckley. Welcome to another Monday video from me. Today's project is going to be a hand stamped gift bag using the Modern Heart stamp set. I've had lots of fun playing with this just recently, so there'll be some samples of this projects using this. I think I've got my mum's teeth in today. There'll be some samples of projects using this stamp set coming from me soon. Now what I'm going to use today, I'm going to use two of the new 2019-2021 ink colours. So I'm going to use Seaside Spray and Pretty Peacock. And I'm going to do the majority of the stamping using the watercolour wash stamp and also the geometric heart stamp. I'm starting off with a piece of our standard Whisper White cardstock that measures 8 inches by 11 inches. And I'm going to use my trimmer to do some scoring because I have a scoring blade on my trimmer. If you don't have a scoring blade, you've probably got a scoring tool, or alternatively you could use a bone folder down the groove in your trimmer. So on the short side, I am going to score my cardstock at 1.5 inches. Then on the long side, I'm also going to score my cardstock at 1.5 inches at 5¼ inches. Just open this up at 6¾ inches and also at 10½ inches. Oh no, I've just cut it. Have you ever done that? Right, I'm just going to get myself another piece of cardstock and we'll try that again. So I'm going to trim my cardstock so that it measures 11 inches by 8 inches. And on the short side, I'm going to score it, that's score it, Karen, at 1.5 inches. And on the long side, I'm going to score it at 1.5. This is inches at 5¼ at 6¾ and at 10½. And don't cut it this time, Karen. Let's just score it. Awesome. So there we go. That's all of the cutting and scoring done. So I don't know how well you can see those lines. I'm not going to burnish them yet because I'm going to do my stamping first. Now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp the watercolour splodge in Seaside Spray ink, but this is quite a new juicy ink pad, so I'm going to stamp off in the corner first because otherwise it may not quite give me the pretty watercolour washed out look that I would like. So I'm just randomly stamping this all over my piece of cardstock, twisting the stamp around as I go, stamping off each time. Oh, excuse me, stamping off the edges as well, because all of this will help give it a nice designer paper look by the time I've finished. I think we just need maybe one more here. I think that will do nicely. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the top with the geometric heart using the Pretty Peacock ink. So again, I'm going to twist and turn the heart this way and that to create the pattern on my background paper. So this is just a nice easy way of making your own background paper. You can do it with any stamped images that you've got. You don't have to have this stamp set, but I've been enjoying this one, so I thought I'd use it for this particular project today. And actually there's a cute little geometric heart as well in this stamp set, teeny tiny one. So I think I might come back in with some full strength Seaside Spray ink, and I might just randomly stamp that little heart here and there as well, just to fill in some of the white spaces that we've got. Just a couple here and there, just to add a little bit more pattern and detail don't need to go down there. One more there, and I think that will do us. So I'm going to close up my ink pads now so that I don't get any ink where I don't want it. And I'm going to take my bone folder, and now I'm going to I'm going to fold and burnish the score lines that I made earlier using the trimmer. So just quickly fold up those. This is a nice quick project to make. You could make quite a lot of these in quite a short space of time. I actually think this would make a nice little gift bag to put a nice handmade soap in. So I've got a bit of a thing about handmade soap at the moment. I'm really enjoying it. So there's our stamped piece. Now we just need to do a little bit of trimming. This thin little line down here, that will ultimately be where we stick some adhesive. But I'm just going to cut into there, and then I'm also going to cut a little wedge into there. Then I'm going to cut this little rectangle away. So I'm going to cut from the bottom up to that first score line, and I'm just actually going to cut the score line itself away because scoring cardstock creates a bit of a bump. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut up the rest of these score lines. I'm just going to cut straight up them. There we go. There we go. And then we're going to put this little bag together. We could have put some additional score lines down here to make the bag fold in nice and neatly, but when I've made this project before, it worked quite nicely without, so let's just give that a go. I'm going to use some tearing tape, double-sided adhesive, to go down this little flap here. Oh, I haven't quite got to the edge, so let's put a little bit more on. There we go. So I'm just going to remove the backing paper from that adhesive now. Always the tricky part of the job, that one. And then I'm going to turn this over, and when I fold this up, that's going to line up nicely. So that's given me that particular shape. So that's now going to be the back of my box because that's where the fold is. But before I go any further, I am going to punch some little handles in. Now to punch the little handles, I'm going to use the classic label punch that I've got just here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed the label punch in. I'm not going to go all the way down, but I'm going to go down, I don't know, suppose probably about 3/4 of an inch. And I'm going to ensure that I've got an equal distance either side. Then I'm just going to punch that there. Oh, and then we'll release that, and then looking through, I'm just going to line this up and then I will show it to you. So looking through, I've then eyeballed, I'm going to need to get this up to the camera, so I have lined it up just by looking through the existing hole, and then I'm going to punch another handle. Now that works now to generate a nice little handle for the top of our box. Let's go and stick together the bottom of our box now. So I'm going to pop in both of those panels there, pop this panel in, then the last one to go down is going to be the front panel, so that all of my workings, if you like, show at the back. So I'm going to put some more tear and tape adhesive just on that bottom flap of the box. If you're putting something heavy in, you might want to reinforce with glue on all the different flaps, but this will be enough for today's purposes, I think. And I'm just going to pop in with my bone folder just to make sure I've got everything pressed down nicely. So that's the back of my box because that's where my seams are, and this is now the front of my box. So what I'm going to do is, just starting at the top, I'm just going to pinch the sides in. So we pinch in equally on both sides at the top, and that's going to give us a nice little closure. And then what I can do is I can just run my finger down the side of the box there, just to encourage it to close. Like I said, you can do this with score lines, but that adds an extra couple of steps into the box making, and you can just do it quite simply like that. So now I'm going to make a little tag to go with my box. So I've cut myself a piece of Whisper White cardstock that measures 2 inches wide and it's 4 inches long. And I'm actually going to use the Ornate Tag Topper punch to create my tag. This punch is great because you can use all sorts of different widths of cardstock, and I did do a Facebook Live on that a while ago, which you can see in the listings of my videos. This takes cardstock that's 1 inch wide, 1.5 inches wide, or 2 inches wide. Or if you turn it over and eyeball it, you can actually do it anything up to 2 inches wide. I've got a 2 inch wide piece here, so I'm just going to slip that in the top, all the way in, press down with my punch. And I've now got a really lovely ornate topper for my punch. So now I want to do some stamping on here and perhaps put a sentiment on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the geometric heart with my peacock ink, and I'm going to stamp the heart partially on. Can't fit the whole thing on, but it's enough to give it a little bit of an impression that we've got a lovely heart stamp going on there. And then we've got a really lovely little thank you in the stamp set. So we've got "You're my person," "You're all heart," "I love you," or sorry, "I just love you," "Thank you," "You're in my thoughts and in my heart," and "So happy for you." So I'm just going to try and find "thank you." Ah, there it is. I haven't put my stickers on yet, so I'm just going to have to try and eyeball this, find myself a block, and I think I may well purposefully stamp this a little bit wonky because I can't get it wrong that way then, can I? So I'm just going to stamp that a little bit wonky. So that's all finished with the ink. And then I thought, just to finish it off, I might use a little bit of the Noble Peacock ribbon because this has got the Noble Peacock colour in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to feed this through the top of my tag and then loop it through. And then I could obviously do my to and from on the back there, and I've popped my little gift in, and then I could perhaps just tie it at the top here, either with a little bow or just nice and simply with a knot. And then we could just trim off those edges so get a nice angle on them. So that's very pretty. So there we go. So we've got a lovely nice little gift box. Let me just give you those finished dimensions. So the box is 3 3¾ inches wide. It is 1.5 inches deep, and it is 6.5 inches tall. So lots of lovely little treats you could get in there. And thank you for watching and joining me today. As usual, in the description bar below, you've got links to all my various different website and things like that. And over on my blog is where you will find all of the products that I've used in today's project if you wanted to recreate this for yourself at home. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks, bye bye.